The boom of data centers taking center stage this week, and not all of it is good.
We just want to make sure that the scales aren't tipped too far in favor of industry versus the residents who are already here and who have been here for decades.
From Asheville to Marysville, Pataskala, and in between, the voice of the people taking a stand. Plus, Central Ohio is scoring big. From the Olympics to the Final Four, our sports scene is booming. This week, see who is changing the game for our region. And the veteran population in Central Ohio is growing with a bigger need to find care closer to home.
It's going to make a huge difference on all the veterans of this county.
This week, we take you inside the new VA clinic in Delaware County, where it will serve thousands of veterans who served our country. Central Ohio is definitely booming. We all see it, and we all can feel it. So here's what we uncovered this week in Boomtown. Thanks so much for joining us for This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. As we move into a new month, a lot of big news on the jobs front this week. We're going to start at Columbus State. Congress is giving the community college $9.5 million to build a new hub for advanced manufacturing education. It'll be called OCAT, the Ohio Center for Advanced Technologies. When it opens in the summer of 2028, students can train for jobs in fields like information and biotechnology. Well, this week, a new career tech center in a place you might not expect. Governor Mike DeWine went to the Circleville Juvenile Correctional Facility for this ribbon cutting. And state leaders say they wanted to make sure kids who are in the juvenile justice system get a second chance to learn.
Frankly, what we want for these young people who are going to be coming out of here at some point back into society, we want them to have a skill, and we want them to have something that they're very excited about. And what we saw today was young people who are learning and excited about what they're learning, and that's a great thing.
Some of the educational opportunities include careers in hospitality and tourism, construction, technology, media arts, and transportation. And look at this, a Columbus-founded company is growing and doing it right here at home. Aerospace Lubricants is investing more than $5 million to modernize its facility on Georgesville Road. The expansion keeps nearly 40 jobs in place and will add 15 more. And this move will certainly help meet the rising demand for high-performance products that are used in aviation, defense, and advanced manufacturing, all of which are industries fueling Central Ohio's growth. Cheers this week from some people in Asheville as the Village Council voted down a move to annex more than 400 acres of land tied to a proposed data center.
I think ultimately last night was the people speaking and council hearing the people and what they wanted.
So this comes as state lawmakers issued new demands this week, calling for new legislation to hold owners of data centers accountable. And that map right there, well, those scattered blue and green icons, all data centers. Columbus is home to more than 100. Lawmakers say electricity demand from data centers outpaces supply and will continue to do so over the next decade. Data from the Ohio EPA shows most data centers use the same amount of electricity in a day as more than 60,000 Ohio households. And lawmakers say that equals the size of Dayton.
Ohio's on the wrong end of the data center fiscal analysis, and we need to make some changes to not only to ensure affordability, but also to increase tax revenues that then we can use for other good purposes here in Ohio.
Lawmakers are now proposing several pieces of legislation that would prohibit sales, tax exemptions for new data centers, and also require them to pay the full cost for service so you, the taxpayer, won't have to foot that bill. Meantime, hundreds of acres in Marysville are being considered now for a new data center there. City leaders say this project could generate more than $1 million a year for local schools. But the land right here, it's located off Weaver Road, south of Union County Airport. And 10 TV reporter Kevin Landers went there and explains why people who live nearby say they have concerns, especially knowing how data centers use millions of gallons of water every year.
Amber Darst runs a Union County farm not far from where the city of Marysville is considering approving a data center.
Our farm and many of us out here lie downstream from where these data centers are being installed.
Darst's livelihood depends on well water. She wants to be assured that the quality and quantity won't be impacted if a data center comes to town.
We just want to make sure that that the scales aren't tipped too far in favor of industry versus the residents who are already here and who have been here for decades.
The city says well water will not be impacted.
If they want millions of gallons of water, usually we've been trying to restrict that to be less so it does not impact our system or our current customers.
This is where the data center would go on nearly 600 acres of farmland off Weaver Road, what's known as Marysville South. If approved, the city projects the project will pump $18 million into property taxes to schools and the city over the next 15 years. In return, the developer pays no taxes on the actual construction of the building.
A 15-year 100% abatement on the development for phase one.
The city says a development like this can help take some of the financial burden off the school district when it comes to asking voters to pass a levy.
The schools just went through an extended period of time where they had difficulty passing a levy. And fortunately, somewhat recently, they passed that levy and it's proved to be extremely beneficial to the schools.
As for Amber Darst, who lives downstream from the proposed data center, she's working with Ohio State to have monitors placed on her well and her neighbors to ensure her water remains safe for her and her animals.
Not saying that anything would happen, but we just want to be prepared as a community to get that baseline data in case anything were to happen.
Kevin, thank you. We also know this week people in Pataskala are standing up against a proposed data center there. That's in Licking County on the southeast corner of East Broad and Mink Roads. So we'll keep you posted on whether the Planning and Zoning Commission there decides to approve 4 proposed data center buildings. Ohio will soon welcome soccer fans from around the world. This week, the Olympic Committee announcing the Columbus Zone, one of 7 soccer venues for the Summer Olympic Games in 2028. This is really a first for the Buckeye State and a huge deal for Columbus, not to mention soccer fans. So this is what Scott's Miracle Grow Field looks like right now in the winter. Snow obviously still on the ground, but bring on the summer of 28. It's not clear yet which teams or games will be played here, but the president of soccer operations for the Columbus Crew says this is a major statement on the growth of soccer in Columbus and what the Crew has built.
A huge testament to the community for their investment in saving the Crew in those facilities. And I think the pride that we have in the Columbus Crew here is the pride that hopefully we will feel for our city when you see the Olympic rings around it, when the activities around the matches happen. And I think at that time, people hopefully will be very excited that we are able to bring soccer in that capacity to Columbus.
And we know football of all kinds is big business in Boomtown. This week, we got a first look at the schedule for the Columbus's newest professional team. We're talking about the Aviators, and they will take the field at historic Crew Stadium on April 3rd. Buckeye legend Ted Ginn Jr. will coach the new United Football League team. And here's what he had to say about calling historic Crew Stadium their new home.
We actually adopted the Crew Stadium from my homeboys at home because we called ourselves the Crew. So every time we came down, it was like, man, Crew Stadium is ours. So for us to really go in there now at 40 and have the passion that we didn't have for it, I want to blow it up. I want to make sure that everybody get everything they're supposed to get out of it. A win, a resource, kids coming in and playing at halftime. You know, I just want to do it the whole 9 yards.
So excited. Well, next year, Columbus also excited to welcome college basketball in a big way. Here's your first look at the logo for the 2027 Women's Final Four. And we just love the local touch, pulling in the short north arches to the logo. The Final Four coming to Nationwide Arena next April, the first time since 2018. And Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork telling us that the goal is really to make this the best sporting event in the country.
For us at Ohio State, we want to be competing at the highest level, and we want to be in the Final Four. And so, we want that runway. Obviously, to do it here in Columbus would be special. But the game has been elevated. This event has been elevated. It is now a destination. As they said up there, they want this to be the best women's sporting event in the world. And so, to me, that platform gives us a great opportunity.
Truly yet another big win for Central Ohio's growing sports economy. And take a look. This right here shows just how big sports have really become. Capital University is adding esports as its 23rd varsity sport. That means competitive gaming will launch this fall. And take a look at this. It's a map showing the 8 new pickleball courts slated to open this summer right next to COSI. The team behind the project says picking the peninsula was all about the right time and the right place.
The peninsula is just really bursting with residential. 330 units on the peninsula right now, another 140 under construction, and then more than 250 to go on that Broad Street parcel where the Giant Eagle is going to go on the first floor. So it seemed to be the ideal place to put it.
A big milestone for a growing veteran population in Delaware County. A brand new Veterans Affairs Center officially opened its doors with that ribbon cutting you just saw. So more than 10,000 veterans call Delaware County home, and that community is really growing. Getting care often means a drive into Columbus until now. 10 TV's Station Akin shows us how this new center is expanding access and serving those who served this country.
It's care for our veterans closer to home.
This is our brand new Delaware VA CBOC.
A new VA CBOC, community-based outpatient clinic offering primary care, behavioral health, audiology, optometry, and lab work for veterans inside a new facility in Delaware.
Why is it so key to have access to these services out in the communities?
Convenience, number one. It helps prevent the patients having to drive to Columbus, a little bit closer to home.
10 TV getting a preview of this new clinic as final preparations were underway to welcome their first patients.
What we look at is what is the most needed care for our veterans.
It's going to make a huge difference on all the veterans of this county.
Kim Gilley, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, works with Delaware County Veteran Services, which helps transport veterans for health care. Now they'll have it at home.
They have it right here and it's accessible to them and they won't have to rely on someone else for a ride. So I think that is huge.
The new clinic also reflects the growing number of veterans in this area. The latest data shows approximately 10,000 in Delaware County, a number expected to go up.
Well, and you as a veteran yourself, when you see opportunities for care in this way, reaching you in your community, what does that say to you?
To me, it shows love, it shows family, and that's one thing we miss when we leave the military. That was our family.
She hopes local veterans find those connections among VA care earned in service to our country.
It is for every single veteran.
Station Aken, 10 TV News.
I love that statement, every single veteran. Well, we are also seeing many veterans taking their years of service into a new direction, and it's all in the name of helping the next generation of workers get ahead. So meet Brian Parks and Bill Pencil. They are veterans who turned their military experience into teaching skilled trades like welding and automotive technologies. This is a program at Toll's Career and Technical Center in Plain City, and these veterans say they really hope to show students what it means to lead the way.
It's been the best job I've ever had, but the most stressful and the hardest job I've ever had, but the most rewarding.
I get to help them develop and grow.
Such great pride in those voices. Station Akin joining us now because Stacia, you went to Toll's to see this program firsthand. So first, welcome to This Week in Boomtown. Glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
So tell us, these veterans really never planned on teaching.
Right.
What drew them back?
I think it was passing along this expertise that we know is so needed right now. Welding, automotive technologies, these are essential workers that we're talking about. And there are so many in the generation that are retiring right now, and we need the next generation to step up and step into these roles with these skills. And these veterans, this is what they did. when they were in the Navy and the Army. They were welding, they were doing auto mechanics, and those skills translate really well into education, in technical education. And then it's also not just those skills, it's the soft skills as well.
Right. And it gives them purpose, right? This sense of purpose, which is why they served our country in the first place. You spoke with the superintendent of tolls, Dr. Todd Holy. He talked about why this is so important, giving those veteran skills. But did he also talk about really how big is this need that we're seeing with the boom in manufacturing happening?
They see it firsthand there at tolls, with the essential workers that are going to be needed for the boom we're experiencing in Central Ohio and beyond. We know those skilled workers are so necessary for all the growth that we are seeing. And these veterans are the perfect people to lead the way, show them the skills needed to be successful in these areas, and also skills that we forget are also important. You don't see it on a resume necessarily. Do you know how to shake a hand?
Right.
Because that's what these veterans are also teaching, is how to shake a hand, how to go in, how to have work ethic, because work ethic and team building and respect and hard work, all of those things are really key in our skilled workers as well.
They really are. And earlier we saw your story about the new VA clinic that opened up in Delaware County. And you do so many great stories about our veterans. I'm sure you see also firsthand, Stacia, this booming generation of veterans who did serve. Talk a little bit about that.
Ohio is really incredible with the number of veterans we have here, 6th in the nation for the number of veterans across the country in Ohio. And Central Ohio is interesting in that if you look at a map, you don't see a military installation where people live and work, but our veterans are here. Our military connected families are here. And I think when we see the opportunity for growth across the area, our veterans are really key in that. And they're a great example of how that growth extends beyond Columbus proper, reaching Delaware, 10,000 veterans in Delaware County alone. So when you see a VA center like that open up in that community, it really reflects the growth that we're seeing in our veteran population as well.
We're seeing such a great cross-section too, I think, Stacia, when we have companies like Anduril coming to Pickaway County, and then you have Joby Aviation with the flying taxis out in Dayton.
Right.
You're so right. It's giving many veterans with these types of skills a bigger playground, if you will, of where maybe they want to have their next chapter in life.
Absolutely, and maybe it's not the chapter that they were intending, as we saw with our veterans at tolls. They didn't intend on becoming teachers, but it's become such a fantastic opportunity, not just for them, but for the next generation as well. And I think we're seeing that across Central Ohio with our growth and the way veterans play such an important role in the growth that we're seeing and what inspires us all.
I love it. Station Akin, thank you so much for joining us for This Week in Boomtown. Great to have you. So we leave you this week with this. The Marzetti Company, which makes popular salad dressings and sauces, well, they're expanding in a big way. The Westerville-based company just spent $400 million to buy Bachan's and its famous lineup of Japanese-American barbecue and dipping sauces. Now, once this deal goes through, Marzetti says it plans to add it to a number of dressings that they make for other brands like Olive Garden, Chick-fil-A, Buffalo Wild Wings, even Arby's and Subway. Well, Marzetti is getting a shout out this week on social media as well. Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther here congratulating them in this post for building a 327,000 square foot warehouse on the west side of Columbus. What an expansion for this historic Central Ohio business that dates back to 1896. Clearly a lot happening in Central Ohio, and that's just in 1 week. If you have questions related to Central Ohio's rapid growth, we would love to hear from you. Simply text us 614-460-3345. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. You can always drop your question right there in the comment section as well. Thanks again for watching This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. We'll see you again next week.